We have forgotten this name, but he goes by the name MEC de Khere, Mr. Ernest Rachweni, who's with us here. And of course, the person who has called you to this media briefing is the Premier of the Limpopo province, Dr. Phophi Ramathuba. Those of you who don't know her, so I welcome you. And those who are watching online, please send your questions, if you are able to do that, on our Facebook page, Office of the Premier, or you can send them to Mr. Tilbari Muaba on the contacts that we have shown in there. We will then ask the Premier to go ahead. We break most of the formalities here to just go directly into the briefing. Madam Premier, thank you so much for allowing us an opportunity to have this moment to brief the media. These are members of the media. They will introduce themselves when they ask questions. But for now, let's allow you to then take us through this particular briefing. Thank you, Madam Premier.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ramakwera, our head of communication in the province, our head of disaster in the province, MEC Makamu, and also our MEC Rachweni for Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure, and also Director General, Mr. Nchabeleng, and most importantly to you, our partners in this crisis, because as the media house, for us as government, we see you as our partners towards service delivery, because in most cases where we have partnered with you, we have seen messages and positive messages. Sometimes even negative messages are required because they then assist us in making sure that indeed we keep on soldiering in order to deliver quality services for our people. Good morning to all of you, esteemed members of the media, and once more I must thank you for making sure that you join us today during this critical time of our province, so that you should be able, through you, to convey the message to the people of this country, and also even across the borders of South Africa. We've gathered here, colleagues, under a dark cloud that has unleashed astonishing rains, unprecedented in their intensity, measuring up to 400 millimeters in just mere days. The devastation inflicted upon our communities, our infrastructure, and tragically, the loss of lives can never be overstated. This calamity began swirling above our heads just weeks ago, tracing back to December 25, 2025, in the Waterberg and Capricorn district, and escalated dramatically with the heavy rains last week, affecting Wembe, Mupani, and also parts of Sekhukhune district. The repercussions of these floods are profound. Roads have been swept away, bridges are no longer standing, and communities are cut off from their economic lifelines and their daily routines. Water and electricity infrastructure have been severely damaged, causing the consternation amongst our communities, because this is a basic necessity that we all rely on for survival. That is why it is important that assessment work be done by our municipality includes these vital areas. Actually, it is our priority to make sure that working with national government, electricity and water become prioritized and are restored. Schools have been destroyed, health facilities crippled, and families are displaced, their homes reduced into memories. I stand before you today not just as a premier, but also as a fellow citizen of Limpopo, my beautiful province, sharing in grief and also in distress that is felt across our province. As of today, we regret to inform you that we have lost a total of 9 lives to these floods. This is the number that includes the 7 that happened during December and the 2 that has happened this since the 1st of January. And with the latest heartbreaking case involving a 5-year-old child who could not be saved by his parents when they were fighting desperately for safety in the Mbaula village. I hereby, on behalf of the people of Limpopo, extend my deepest condolences to all the families who are grieving today during this tragic period. We mourn together, and I believe as a province, we will rise together. We did convene an emergency meeting with the extended executive council. We also included our local and district municipalities and also various stakeholders to commence the daunting task of quantifying the extent of the damage, especially when you look at infrastructure damage. There is at the moment, if I can share with you, that over 4 billion will be required to cover work across infrastructure. However, I must emphasize that these figures just remain provisional because we have not yet assessed certain areas which are very difficult for us to can even access. Even those with helicopters, because of the weather challenges, they are not able to access some of those areas. So we anticipate the worst outcomes as assessments continue amidst the weather challenges. Because you'll remember the visit by the president even yesterday. We should have started at Giani, proceed to Palabura, proceed to parts of around the Zingi area, the Pafuri area, but pilots even warned against because it was very difficult. That's why we ended up only in Chakuma, and also later on when the situation allows us, we were able to take the president to Mbaula village, because you remember in the morning yesterday the whole area was covered with water. The MEC Makamu tried to even start there, but it was very difficult. But later during the day, we've been able to access those communities that have been displaced. So far, the reports paint a harrowing picture. Numerous national and provincial roads have been critically damaged. We have so far received reports that the following national roads have been badly damaged. You know, the R527 around the Hoedspruit area, where the tourism industry has been badly affected because we use this particular route to visit Hoedspruit. R40 next to the Maseke Game Reserve. You go to R71 between Gravelot and Palabura. It's a serious headache from the pictures that we've received from the communities out there. R36 between Oaks and off Kolaku. The R578, the Silwana Road, those who knows, these are some of them are part of the Maruleng and also Palabura municipalities near Makuba. The R526 between the R40 intersection and the Gravelot. The R529 from Greater Litaba Bridge to the Eland Road. And also that was one of the roads that we had already started to think of fixing the other parts. Now the entire road has been badly damaged. The R71 towards Palabura, we have also closed it due to rain. Similarly, is the R40 around Palabura area, having suffered the same fate. Actually, even yesterday when I was discussing with the executive mayor, Councillor Puleshai, he was, he cut off. He could not even join us as we were doing rounds within his municipality because he's reside in Palabura. 4 bridges, if I'm not mistaken, my 2 MECs, 4 bridges that access us to Palabura are all damaged. And the R521 from Luitregat to Punda Maria Gate via Toyando, it has major portions that has been destroyed, badly so. So in total, we've identified a total of 439 roads with a total kilometer radius of over 600 that would require urgent attention. So our district and local municipalities have also reported damaged streets within their localities, which they shall include in the total costing. These are the streets that access to clinics. These are the streets that are accessing to police station. They're accessing our people to clinics, to schools. Hence, you have seen that kids in some areas are not going to school. So the sheer damage of our roads, it's something that even the reserve fund that we put in place in our provincial treasury will not even be able to handle. The sheer scale of the damage to the road network makes it impossible for the province and also our affected municipalities to have the ability to respond and the intervention of the national government. In particular, Department of Transport through SANRAL must be extended to provincial and district roads, because on our own, even those provincial roads, even those municipality roads, it's going to be very difficult for us when we start with the process of rebuilding Limpopo and some of our internal streets within the township and also within our villages. As it is, the around 1.7 billion would be required for the repairs while assessments are still continuing. We have also asked the assistance, as you have noted, from the South African National Defence Force on the temporary restoration of the access roads. The Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure will, in areas where rains have stopped, start with the process of reconnecting bridges, including the requested assistance to the SANDF. We have been inundated with requests by communities to fix their infrastructure, to reconnect them. And we know what it means, because workers are not able to go to work. Some employers are not understanding that employees have been cut off. Therefore, economic activities in our province, in some parts of our province, have come to a halt. We need additional capacity to do this, especially with our schools, accessibility to our schools. In total, we know that all these 439 roads will require all of us, from national government up to the local government, to be able to work towards restoring them. The magnitude of this damage far exceeds the capacity that the provincial emergency fund would have. So we have also commended the process of restoring access, as I've already indicated, especially to those communities that have been calling me, texting me that they can't go to work, to say to them, please bear with us. We are in a disaster, but we will work together, and indeed we shall overcome. I also urge our communities, please refrain from risking your lives. Some of you have seen on social media where you are attempting to cross dangerous water. Some of you are doing it just for the sake of trending or some few likes. I'll repeat what I've told some of you as journalists. But your safety comes first. Not only your safety. Remember when you have been swept away with your car, we must get people to come and rescue you. Those are human beings like me and you. And with the current floods, some of them are not going to survive. So we've seen in situations where those who are going to rescue, unfortunately, their lives are lost. Hence, we are pleading with you to say, when you do that for the sake of trending, unfortunately, many lives will be affected. Or some because they want to be peacetime heroes. We've seen community spreading and cheering up a vehicle risking to cross such a bridge. Perhaps maybe we should condemn that, to say that is uncalled for. It's barbaric. If you want to be a hero, come to us. We will give you jobs to do where people will appreciate that indeed you are a hero for the people of Limpopo, but not by risking your lives and the lives of others. And you are doing it in front of our children. And when our children are learning that, they grew up learning wrong things. We've seen that human settlements, especially our houses and public facilities, many countless families have been affected. And as it is for now, over 1,600 homes, as I was discussing with MEC Makam, have suffered the damage, with many of those washed away entirely, like the area we visited yesterday, Director General. It has become a ground where you can play soccer tournament, because there is nothing that can even show you that there were houses, there were people who were residing here. It's so terrible and it is so bad. So some houses in some areas, they remain submerged with water. Some in those houses you can see that the water was reaching even the roof level. So it has already jeopardized the structural integrity, if you can look at it. So let us recognize also and appreciate the solidarity that we have seen as the provincial government amongst our communities. When we visited the community of Chakuma, we asked them, because their houses were still submerged underwater, where are you staying? Because we have not yet been able to access that area to provide temporary shelter. But that's where we saw humanity. That's where I pride myself to be the premier of the people of Limpopo, where they could say our neighbors were able to accommodate us. We've seen the same at Mbaula village, when we interacted with our communities there, our members there, our people there who have been displaced. Where are you staying? What are you eating? Before we come with the help, they are residing, some with relatives of course, but majority of them with their neighbors. So I'm saying to the people of Limpopo, that's who we should be known for in this country, so that even other people from out there must know, when we say Ubuntu, when we say the people of Limpopo love each other, this is what we are referring to. So the solidarity that you have shown amongst yourself, where neighbors have opened their homes and to those in need during this challenging time. Let me thank you. Let me appreciate you. Let me say and repeat, I'm proud to be your premier. So the impact on the public facilities, it's equally alarming. As of the 6th of January, 2026, we managed to document the damaged schools to about 31. With this figure, it likely to rise, we have had to halt the reopening of a total number of 1,400 schools in affected areas. Some of these schools, it's not that they are damaged by storms, but we had to suspend a teaching, which is very painful for us, because children's safety comes first. You have seen that in some areas, parents are helping kids, risking our kids' life. Hence we said to all these schools which are cut off, we must suspend teaching. We've agreed with the MEC for Education that immediately after the whole disaster would have come to an end, we will develop a catch-up plan where provincial government will provide resources, be it of teachers, be it of materials, so that we can get extra time for our learners to be able to catch up, because 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 second lost towards teaching accumulated, they will result into a 0% pass rate. I can tell you the school that has performed in that, it's because throughout the year they were missing out on teaching, and teaching time was never protected. So we want to protect the teaching time, and we're saying we are in a period of disaster. Those schools that are not affected, especially in districts like Capricorn, Skukune and Waterberg, we are urging them to say continue protecting teaching time, so that when we come with a catch-up plan, we don't have to deal with the entire province, but we will have to deal with those particular areas with the limited resources that we have. We've also recorded a significant impact on our health facilities that was attributed to mostly overflowing rivers, which have damaged the bridges and made impossible roads that have restricted access to multiple healthcare facilities, affecting both the patient care and staff mobility. These were recorded especially in Vembe district, where we have seen the Chinga clinic. Yes, Chinga is the area we would have loved to visit yesterday, but unfortunately the Weather Bureau, they advise against. The Hope Clinic, Dubuleza Clinic, and Chipise Clinic, they are all inaccessible as we speak. The most significant single facility in Vembe to witness the damage, it's the Elim Hospital, where serious roof leaks have occurred and significant damage to interior ceilings. Futures and fittings have taken place. In Mupani, we have a total of 7 hospitals and 19 clinics that have infrastructure challenges that have been caused by these floods. Not forgetting also a number of clinics that are now inaccessible because of the damaged roads and bridges. So in Waterberg, the storm damage has been reported for hospitals in Varambat, in Villavilla, Elisras Hospital in Vilipalale, FH Hodendale in Mudimule, and Mukopane Hospital in Mogalakwena. So far, no report has been obtained from the Skukune district, but safe to note that the Mutlane Clinic guard room was destroyed by floods. So we currently are estimating 7 million of damage to some of these facilities that we will have to work hard to be able to fix, to get them fixed. We are also worried about our agricultural sector. We know that without this sector, none of us can survive. We are all sitting here because we had a breakfast of bacon and egg produced by our farmers. So since January 2026, the department, you might have noticed that they did intensify the extreme weather warnings to caution the provincial farmers about the high risk of flooding within the province and in all our 5 provincial districts. So damages to crops that have been encountered, especially we have noted that the vegetable crops such as the cabbage, spinach, butternuts, cucumbers amongst a few of those that we've been able to do assessment. We've seen that damages to on-farm roads and also the bridges have also been reported, as well as damages to infrastructure such as the buildings and also their storerooms. You know, farmers, even if they produce those their goods, they need to transport them to where we are and or to their markets. But unfortunately, when the roads and the bridges are damaged, they won't be able to transport them. So if we don't fix urgently, unfortunately, as I've said earlier on, we will all be affected and we will all die of hunger if this particular sector is not taken care of. So unfortunately, the quantification of these losses is not yet made due to the inaccessibility to the flood affected areas. We can't access, our teams can, some even the farmers themselves, because one of the farmers was saying they are estimating amongst their area around 16 million that is required to fix some of their infrastructure that has been damaged. We are also indicating to you that even our libraries across our district have been damaged, wherein the roof, unfortunately in the middle of the night, when there's no one in the library, when the roof, as the roof leaks, the books, the shelves, and the computers in our libraries, and we will require in some areas where we've already done an assessment, 12 million to be able to restore these libraries and to be able to procure the new books that have been damaged. So the South African Social Security Agency, our SASSA, has also conducted its own assessment and provided food parcels to the qualifying victims as part of saying we are responding to the disaster. Emergency shelters, the blankets, and also the sleeping mattresses, they've been provided by respective municipalities to the affected victims. So the long-term plan through the MEC for Coxter and also the Minister for Human Settlement would be the provision of permanent structures, our RDP houses, and also the reconstruction and rehabilitation of our damaged public infrastructure. The MEC has already indicated to me to say if on Sunday we are not on level 10, together with the Minister of Human Settlement, they would be starting with those areas, both Vembe and Mupani, where the houses have been completely destroyed, so that assessment can start, and then we can see how do we get them to be fixed. But we are also saying to our traditional leaders and also to our municipalities, this work of building human settlements would require the safe area where we must rebuild. There are certain areas, for instance, your wetlands, and also the areas on the low-lying areas next to the rivers, because we anticipate that the disaster will be with us year in, year out. So whatever planning we are doing now, we must plan. If you want to construct next to the river, plan with the back of your mind to say, what if this river bank starts to burst? What will happen to my house? So we will be expecting our traditional leaders to work with the department and also our municipalities to start identifying safe areas where we are going to build these houses. So I would want to summarize that our provincial treasury, in collaboration with all our relevant entities and all our municipalities, has initiated the calculations to assess the financial cost of this disaster. Sadly, the South African Weather Services project that we may even face further rainfall and additional damage. So I implore our communities, those of you who are living in low-lying areas, I know some of you it's not your fault, but we are saying when you reside next to flooded rivers, please seek safety and more secure locations before we see another disaster, another life lost. One life lost is too many for me. So I'm saying we are working closely with the weather service team, and they keep on updating us and warning us. So when they do that, our communication team will be communicating with all of you to say, in this particular area, the South African Weather Service is projecting that you will be at level 9 or you'll be at level 10. So when we communicate that way, that we are saying, use that information to be proactive. You won't lose anything for that evening to go and sleep at your aunt or at your cousin where you know it's safe. And then even if there's no flooding, but your life will be saved. What if there's a flooding and you don't seek safe shelter? Unfortunately, some of these things unfortunately happened at night when all of us are fast asleep. So that's why we're saying, let's be proactive. So let me extend my heartfelt gratitude to our first responders, our municipalities, our ward councillors, our community leaders, our ward committees, and secondly, our provincial disaster management team. Not only them, even the municipal disaster management teams working together. They are the first one to be on the scene. Our South African police services, the Air Wing, which is always there to support, especially those who are trapped. The Limpopo Department of Health, the Emergency Services Unit, the Aeromedicine Unit that has been providing support where patients are trapped and they are able to go and airlift them to nearest facilities. Most importantly, the South African National Defense Air Force. We really appreciate your unwavering commitment, risking your lives so that our people can be safe. The rapid response under dire conditions will always remember you for that. Your courage and your dedication will never go unnoticed. And thank you, our media houses, because you have made sure that the story of Limpopo is told, that Limpopo this time around needs your help, that Limpopo this time around wants national government to come and support us. We also want to appreciate His Excellency, the head of the state, President Phophi Ramathuba, to say for him to be visiting us after we have just spoken to him in a short notice. We really appreciate, because his visit gave us courage as the Executive Council to say we are not alone. This is a disaster. It requires everyone. Let me conclude by urging vigilance and caution during this critical period. Together we can overcome this calamity. We will rise stronger, united in our efforts to build and restore hope. We know that as a province, we have never had such disaster. We are used to watching them on TV happening in other parts of the world. I remember when I was MEC for Health, and I would take my EMS team to say, go to KZN, go even abroad to go and understand how to manage disaster. Little did I know that the day I become a premier, that team would be ready to can be able to respond. So we also thank you, all of you who are here. So as we continue to navigate these challenging waters, we remain committed to supporting our communities and all our communities. We would love to be in every single village. We would love to be in every single household that is affected. But however, it is not practical, it is not possible. All our MECs from today, they are deployed. Actually, from yesterday, they will be visiting different areas where it's accessible. But we are pleading to the communities. Sometimes you must understand, our MECs do not have helicopters. The DG has not yet procured. So even if they would love to go to certain areas, if the bridge has been swept away, when you have your councillor there, when you have your ward committee there, know that you have your mayor, know that you have your MEC, know that the premier is there, know that ministers are there, note that the president is there, because that is a ward councillor who has been elected by the same system that elects all of us. They are elected to be there in our absence. So don't say, but the president has not come to my village, but the premier has only visited Chakum. It is not practical to be everywhere. But we will be visiting, especially prioritizing the areas that are in dire need, like the Mbaula villages. We had to do that, but we will also check the safety of our deployees before we deploy them. So let's continue to work together, ensuring that every voice is heard and every need is addressed. Let me thank you once more. Thank you, Mr. Ramakwe.
I am used to people clapping hands after she's spoken, so I see it's a media briefing. Thank you, Madam Premier, for taking us through, giving that detail, which was necessary to allow the rest of Limpopo and the country as a whole to understand where we are as a province, what are the areas where we require attention, and what steps have we taken